Hello, and welcome to Let My People Eat, a podcast that provides satisfying talk about kosher nutrition. Here we clear through the clutter of nutrition speak, arm you with the clarity and confidence to eat, feel, and be your healthiest every day. I am Jill Sharfman, a board-certified holistic nutritionist living in Los Angeles.
And I'm Dr. Andrea Moskowitz, a neuroscientist and psychiatrist in Los Angeles. I use my training and experience to integrate positive lifestyle changes into my patients' lives.
Hey, Andrea.
Hey, Jill. How's it going?
It's going well. We got through Passover.
We did get through Passover, and I am getting back on my normal schedule.
Yes.
How about you?
Me too. This is our first time back in the studio, so it's good to be back.
You know, one thing it reminded me of, I think 5 years ago, I started, exercising more and eating more healthfully and getting that motivation up and putting like all the pieces together for yourself.
Right.
It's a lot of work. And I think it gets to be very difficult. I mean, I had probably a lot of stops and starts before that.
Right.
Until I kind of finally got it. So It would be really nice if there were like ways for people to do that in a more efficient way.
Right. That's true. So we've talked about body positivity. Right. We've talked a little bit about intuitive eating. Right. We've talked about how we don't want to call things necessarily a diet, but an eating plan and what might be healthy. But even all that said, the truth is there are people out there who want to lose weight, whether it's for health reasons or just aesthetic reasons. They want to feel better in their body. They want to look better. So I think it would be unfair of us to not address that and figure out a good way that people can lose weight in a safe and predictable manner, and also be able to maintain that weight loss.
And I think a lot of people, they kind of know what they need to do. They know the whole thing. Eat more healthfully, drink more water, exercise more, portion control, all of that. But it's very hard to put that together for yourself.
Right. Sometimes you need help. So luckily, our guest today is Tanya Rosen, who's the founder of Nutrition by Tanya. She has 11 locations and counting, as well as over 10,000 clients from all over the world. The program that she created has helped people lose, gain, maintain their weight as needed, all while learning how to incorporate a healthy regimen into their lifestyle. Hey, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, guys.
Welcome. Hi. So we want to talk to you about your program and your journey and how you started all this. But what's most relevant to us is that you estimate that about 70% of your clients are Orthodox Jews, like yourself, like us, who most likely keep kosher. So we want to definitely get into, what are the challenges that are specific to this group that maybe the other 30% of your clients don't necessarily encounter when they're trying to go through a weight loss program. But before we do that, let's hear, how did you start this? What motivated you to open 11 offices and have so many clients and go on this path?
Okay, so it started out where my whole life I wanted to be a lawyer. I was 100% sure that I'm absolutely going to be a lawyer, and I used to practice law on my dolls. And my parents were immigrants. They went from Russia to Israel to America. And to them, their daughter becoming a lawyer would be like the ultimate dream. That means that they've made it. Uh-huh. And they found money that they didn't have just to put me through college and pay for my LSAT courses. And then I even took the LSAT. And in the process of all this, I had just gotten married. I had my first baby and I gained 50 pounds, 50, in the pregnancy. And I was just like, okay, let me just get back to my wedding weight, which was like a size 10, I would say. Not super thin, not overweight necessarily, but just average. And in the process of doing that, I just really started learning for the first time in my life. I was 23 and I had never in my life eaten healthy or exercised. I always thought I hate exercise, and just started falling in love with exercise and learning about healthy eating. And not only did I get back to my wedding weight in the process, I went even lower, just not on purpose, just because that's what happens when you eat healthy and fall in love with exercise.
Right.
So I gave up my law school plans. Yeah.
I was just going to say before, who introduced you? Who helped you, or was this all self-taught? Obviously, if you were going to go to law school, you were motivated.
I ended up changing my college major, but initially it was just exploration. I was like, yeah, I heard that you're supposed to eat breakfast, so let me try that and see what happens. I heard you're supposed to drink water. I never really drank more than a cup of water in my life, but let me see what happens. It was just kind of like experimental on myself.
Okay, so you decided not to go to law school, and I'm sure your parents were thrilled about that decision.
They were devastated. They were totally devastated, and they thought I was crazy, and they tried to convince me. But my whole rationale was like, look, I just had my first baby. I'm planning to have more kids. Lawyers work too many hours. I'll be like a part-time nutritionist, and that's better.
Mm-hmm. So you went to school for nutrition?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and did you, what type of degree did you get in nutrition?
My master's.
You got your master's. Okay. So then you felt qualified and you started sharing this knowledge with other people. Was it in a very professional setting? Did you have an office? Did you what was the next step?
So I actually was, I first became a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
While I was going to school, I was working part-time as a personal trainer, and people kept asking me to make the meal plans, and it was very unofficial. It was literally in someone's living room while training her, or in the gym, by the table where people are just recovering after a workout. It was nothing official. Okay. For a while. And then I opened my first studio, a fitness studio.
Mm-hmm.
And even then it wasn't fully official yet. We didn't have a separate room for nutrition for a while. So it was very unofficial for a long time.
Okay. And so then you started counseling people more often, and you started to build a big client base and realized that this was getting bigger than you even thought it would get.
Yeah, I really like going back to what I said, the rationale was I'm going to work part-time as a nutritionist.
Right.
That's the ironic part. I think I work way more than, most lawyers probably.
Right.
So that's the irony of it all. But yeah, I had one location, and then, I had one location in, Borough Park, and then I decided to open another location in Flatbush. And this was all without staff. This is just, me and myself doing everything.
Oh, wow.
At first.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you needed to hire people.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And what are the qualifications, education? Do they have masters in nutrition, or do you teach them your program? How does that work?
Right. So I actually in New York and New Jersey, I'm not sure about so many other states because we're just in New York, New Jersey, and Israel, but you don't have to have a nutrition degree to be a nutritionist.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't necessarily take insurance, and you can't call yourself an RD because you're not a registered dietitian, but you can counsel people. So I actually look for personality when hiring people, because a big part of why our clients are so successful is because everyone on staff is super warm and super encouraging, and that's something you cannot teach. So I look for people who are like that, and then I teach them my program.
Right. So you did mention, I watched your introductory video, though, that you do help people who may suffer from diabetes or cancer. So is that part of your teaching? If somebody isn't necessarily trained in those disciplines?
If someone is a very extreme, anything extreme or sensitive medically, I usually do, or one of the other certified nutritionists.
Okay.
But basic, let's say if someone just has high cholesterol or high sugar or PCOS, those are very, very common, and we all work with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what do you know what your success rate is? How many people lose the weight and then maintain that weight loss? Do you see people coming back to need to see you again?
So it's very hard to know a percent. People ask me that, but it's because we don't keep up with every single person. But I do know that people find that coming in, even occasionally, even after they've lost their weight, helps them tremendously. Meaning they, just to stay in touch and check in. But even once we make a maintenance plan for someone, if they come in, they just do so much better.
Right. Okay. So they come in, they see you, or they see one of your counselors, and so you mentioned one thing that makes your program very different is the personality and the warmness of the people who work with you, and therefore work with them. What else makes your program, I don't know necessarily different, but could you just explain if I were to come and see, what would the process be?
So, well, that's two separate questions because the process and what makes it different might be two different things. So should I answer that separately?
Sure. Yeah, however you want. That's fine.
Okay, so the process is that the first time you come in, we sit down for about 45 minutes, and myself or whoever you're working with would ask you your history, like what you've done, what you've tried, what your goals are, what's your lifestyle like? Like, do you like to cook, or are you always on the go? Any health conditions, if any, are you pregnant? Are you nursing? And then we design a customized plan together with you, meaning we ask you before we put anything down. And you walk away that day with a plan with a bunch of choices for each meal. And then once a week after that, you come in for a follow-up session. So that's when we weigh you, we read your food log, we see if you have any questions. If anything's coming up, we help you plan for it. So that's the once a week check-in.
Mm-hmm. And that goes on typically, like, I assume it varies. Like, some people might do 6 weeks, some people might be 10 weeks, right? I'm guessing that varies on their needs. 6 years.
Originally you're signing up for a 6-week program. And then after that, it's up to you whether you want to continue. Mm-hmm. So, at that point, some people will come in every other week, every third week, once a month, whatever they feel they need.
Do you hit that?
And I should mention, which will answer the second question, how it makes us different, is that in between the sessions, it's not like, bye, we'll see you in a week. Like, we're constantly answering our clients' texts, whether they're in a restaurant, whether they just have a question, need support, had a bad night. We're always answering our clients' texts. Anyone I hire, I tell them you have to be okay with that or you can't work here because it's a huge part of the program. And we also have a WhatsApp chat of clients, and I'm on it too. So they give each other support, and they're always asking questions, posting their food pictures. So there's a lot of communication during the week.
Okay, good. So let's get back to that first question that we had. So most of your clients are Orthodox. You're located in most of the frum communities. What are people's biggest issues that they have, complaints? I mean, I think I know the answer to this question, but what are their biggest challenges because of the lifestyle that we lead?
So people claim that Shabbos is very hard, and I'll tell you why I'm using the word claim soon, but they claim that Shabbos is very hard. They claim that holidays are hard. There's always something going on, like a wedding or a bris or something. There's always something.
Right. Yes, absolutely. True.
So the reason I say that claim is because, yes, it's so true. They're not imagining it, obviously, but I always say, if that's the case, then how come people who are not Jewish also struggle with their weight? They don't struggle less.
Good point.
So, So, and I tell them that Shabbos is good because it's a predictable event. Like, it comes every single week. So it's not a surprise. We just have to figure out a system that works and just kind of keep repeating it.
Okay. Can you give me an example of the system? Like, what would be a piece of advice you'd give one of your clients who's saying Shabbos comes, the challah comes out, the dips are there, and I just have such a hard time, not eating it all? Like, what would you say to somebody?
So of course I'll validate her and I'll say, listen, I go through the same thing and everyone does. But again, like what I said before, it comes every single week. So you also have to reframe your mind, because people feel like, oh, I'm missing out. Like, there's a term called FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And everyone feels like, how could I not have the challah? How can I not have the dips? And then I do a little simple math for them. I say there's 52 weeks in a year. And let's say you're 30 years old. That means that 52 weeks times 30 is how many times you've had the challah and you've had the dips. And if you plan to live for another, 80 years, let's do that math. So what's the worst case scenario? For 3 months, you'll have a little less challah. Then the FOMO goes away.
Right. Got it. Okay. Do you ever have people, while they're on the program, is there ever a concept of a cheat meal, or, you just tell them stick to the program for the 3 months and you'll see a tremendous difference, and then we'll go from there?
No. So definitely we incorporate something called a treat. So every single day, at the end of the day, there's a built-in treat. We give a certain amount of calories based on the person. So it could be 100, 130, 150, and that's a treat that's on the plan, meaning you could have anything that fits into those calories daily and still lose weight. So it works wonders psychologically because, it takes away the feeling deprived.
Yeah.
And they still lose weight.
Okay, so I guess this is a good segue now because you have something that you came out with called TAP, Tanya Approved Products. So I'm guessing because of this need for a treat every day and keeping the caloric content contained is why you came up with these products.
So the treat could be anything junky. Like I always tell them, like, if you want gummy bears, okay, take gummy bears, jelly beans, anything within the range. Our stuff is wholesome, like it's not junky. But yeah, our stuff is more like snacks and meals and bread and pizza. It's not junky. It's all wholesome because we have many pregnant and nursing clients, so we never put junk in our stuff.
Right. Okay. So you have things like muffins, cookies, pizza, like things like that, so that people don't feel as deprived as as they would. Okay.
Exactly.
And how does exercise fit into your plan? Like, do you tell people that they must exercise as part of the plan, or is that something that gets introduced later?
So they don't have to exercise because the truth is that it will not necessarily make them lose weight faster.
Right.
They don't have to exercise. If they like to or they want to, and we explain the difference between you'll lose inches, you just won't lose more weight just because you're exercising. So it's great for health and inches and even getting into a good mood and stress relief, but not to speed up weight loss.
Right. It actually could make you more hungry.
Yeah, definitely. It could make you more hungry. It could even make you gain some muscle, which frustrates people, and then they feel discouraged.
Right, because they don't see the scale moving, even though they might be losing fat, they're gaining muscle, which does way more.
Yeah.
Well, but also, too, like their size might be decreasing.
Right. The clothes fit better.
Right.
Or, but people are so hung up on numbers, like specifically numbers, that it's very hard to get them to see past that. Like, I'll say, like, but look, your skirt is big on you. And they'll say, yeah, that's great, but, like, I want the scale to move.
Right. Yeah. And is there an answer to that? Maybe there is no answer to that. It's just so ingrained in people.
One of the guidelines that we and kind of like encourage them in the beginning when we go through the guidelines is to never go on the scale more than once a week, just because it really messes with your head.
Yep.
So we always tell them, just go on the scale once a week. Don't go too often. You're going to drive yourself insane. And if they listen to us, then great. And
you probably tell them Friday, not Sunday or Monday after.
Well, some people purposely have their weigh-ins on Sunday because they want to stay on track over Shabbos.
Interesting.
But otherwise, if not, then go like towards later in the week.
Right. So I introduced this episode where, we've talked to people about body positivity and intuitive eating. And I feel that recently there has been a backlash against dieting and trying to lose weight for, to look better, to feel better. And that there's been this resistance, and, Andrea and I are very conscious of it. But I just wanted to hear, have you noticed this? Do you see this? Do you hear about it? Do people criticize what you're trying to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what can I say? It's like, what I always say, like, let's say if your daughter had social skills issues, right? Like, it's not a question that she has issues. She needs help. So you could either kind of like, bury it and pretend it doesn't exist, or you could help her in the most positive way, not to put her down, not to embarrass her, not to take her to someone who's going to make her feel bad. But the bottom line is she needs help.
Right.
So the bottom line is people need to lose weight. We could sugarcoat it all we want, but there are plenty of people that need to lose weight. So either we could ignore it and be like, no, love your body, just be heavy, just have health issues potentially. Or we could say, okay, yes, you need to lose weight. Let's do it in a positive, warm, encouraging, not deprivational, not restrictive way.
Right.
So I'm confident that we have enough food that we never speak negatively. I'm confident that we do it the right way. Will there always be opponents? Of course.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So that's good to hear. And because like I said, we wanted to present the other side of it because we've been hearing a lot from the anti-diet movement, I guess. So
I think that anybody who's familiar with my style and my plan would never say that we belong in the category of a diet. There's a reason that many pediatricians and family physicians and even psychologists refer their patients to us because they know our positive approach. So I agree that there shouldn't be negativity with dieting, but obviously people do need to diet. So let's find them the right way to do it.
Right. So you see children as well?
Yeah, as young as 5.
Wow. Have you seen increases in the number of kids over the last few years?
Yes, absolutely. Over the years, it became just normal to, seek help for losing weight.
Right. And do you include the parents? Because I would think unless the parents were on board and they were shopping right and, cooking correctly, and especially a 5-year-old really can't control necessarily, what they're eating.
Yeah. And the parents that are more involved, their kids do better. There are some mothers that seem to think that, if I just pay the money and just drop her off and she goes in by herself, or I sit there the whole time texting on my phone, it's just magic. It's just going to happen. But no, definitely the parents that are more involved in a warm, supportive way, not in a critical way, those are the ones whose kids do 100% better.
How do you deal with, I don't know if you've hit this situation where, there might be one child or 2 children in the family who are more overweight and the others aren't. And then they come in for to work with you. And then how do you advise the parent, for the other kids so that they don't feel like they're singled out and deprived and
that's
relative to their siblings?
It's a really hard balance. It really depends on the family dynamics, because I once had a mother that brought her son, and she said all the other 7 children are not overweight at all, but because he's coming here and they want to help him, that they said that it's totally okay to change over the whole house. But that's rare.
Right.
And that's very rare. I think I've heard this once ever. But usually, no, they definitely cannot. They can't change everyone's life for one child. It just wouldn't be fair to everyone. But I always tell them that it's good practice for real life, because, if the girl grows up and she's a teacher, there's always stuff in the teacher's room. And what if she's going to be a caterer and she's always going to be around food? Or what if she's feeding her own children and she's always around, macaroni and cheese? Right. So that's life. We can't live in a tent.
No. Right.
Well, the truth is, all the kids should be eating healthfully and not drinking soda. There shouldn't be candy in the house all the time.
Ideally.
Yeah, ideally.
In an ideal world.
Right. Okay. All right. So, Tanya, before we wrap things up, give me one of your best tips, one of your best things that you tell your clients that you see makes a difference in their outlook, the mentality, and how they go ahead and stay with your program.
Right. So I knew you were going to ask me that question, and I really thought about it because I have so many pieces of advice about that. But I guess I would say that consistency, because people get so hung up on just big numbers and it's either all or none. The people who are just changed forever, and I could say that term and mean it, it's not a dramatic term, literally changed forever, are the people that even if at 2:33 p.m. had 15 pieces of cake, by 2:34 p.m. they pretend that nothing happened and they're completely back on track. Not the next day, not Monday, not next year, not after Passover, like you said, right away. Those are the people that do best. Just move on. It's not all or none.
Okay, great. Got it. Love it. Okay, well, you can call Tanya at 844-TANYA-DIET, TANYADIET, for more information about nutrition counseling, personal training, and life coaching. We didn't even talk about your kosher DVD videos that you have if people want to work out at home also. If you mention Let My People Eat, you'll get 10% off your first counseling package. So thank you, Tanya, so much for that. Okay. You can also follow them on social media, Nutrition by Tanya, or nutritionbytanya.com. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanya,
for your time.
Thank you very much.
Your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
All right. Take care. And please follow me on Instagram at Jill Schartzman. And that is it for this episode of Let My People Eat. Please visit our website at letmypeopleeat.com and leave us a comment. Get in touch at our email at podcast@letmypeopleeat.com or call us at 317-659-0004. Post on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook with the hashtag #LetMyPeopleEatPodcast. If you like this show, please make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Tell your friends and family, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts.
And please remember that although we are certified professionals, this is not a medical advice podcast. No content, posts, or comments should be interpreted as professional guidance. Always speak to your own health practitioner about making the right life changes for you.
Until next time, I am Jill Scharfman.
And I'm Andrea Moskowitz.
Thanks for joining us.
And go in good health.